My glutathione. I don't know why my glutathione didn't show up. So, welcome to the Talk at 10. And Miss Jessica is remote at the Indianapolis Zoo having some fun, lowering cortisol levels, de stressing. Well, I don't know how much you can de stress with two young ladies running around.
Yeah.
But today we're going to talk about high blood pressure. And I want to we're going to start to make these a little shorter. We're going to try to keep them between 15 and 30 minutes because I've been told that the long format is too long. So, for blood pressure, first off, Jessica, what is high blood pressure?
What is medically high blood pressure, or what's truly high blood pressure? It's changed because most people believe that 120 over 80 is a normal blood pressure, but they've changed that down to 110 over 70.
So I've thrown up. Can you see that graph? I've thrown up the graph. This is the graph off of the American Heart Association, and it just says what you just said. Normal is less than 120 over less than 80, and that's what they want us to be at. You're slightly elevated if you're between 120 to 129, and you're still less than 80. Stage 1 hypertension is 130 to 139 over 80 to 89. And then if you're 140 or higher and 90 or higher, you're at stage 2. And then if you're at higher than 180 and higher than 120, then you're basically screwed and you're in a hypertensive crisis. How often do you see those in the hospital?
Hypertension?
Well, just the hypertensive crisis.
Not often, but most people are medicated for high blood pressure, probably 90% of them. So we wouldn't necessarily see them in a crisis unless they were undiagnosed or not taking their meds.
And so when you think about high blood pressure, what problems, I'm going to throw up the problems from the American Heart Association, what problems are associated with high blood pressure?
Well, the ones we would see would be like dizziness, anxiety, chest pain.
And those are the ones we would see. What are the ones you see at the hospital?
That's typically what we would see.
Okay. And so
then they start having problems with their vascular system. And then they would have we would start seeing cellulitis of their legs and things like that.
And so what I've thrown up right here is basically the American Heart Association's high blood pressure is the silent killer picture. And it talks about stroke, vision loss, heart attack, kidney failure, sexual dysfunction, heart failure. And these are the things that are associated with high blood pressure. And that's why high blood pressure, even though a lot of people, good morning, Kathy. Kathy says hello.
Hey, Miss Kathy.
And with high blood pressure, when we have that elevated, it really does work on us, and we can't or we don't quite feel the effects of blood pressure unless you're starting to get it higher and higher, and you start to get the headaches, the blurriness, the double vision, things like that. So we have to be very conscious of what our blood pressure is. And once we start to see it eke up, we really need to be already working on bringing it down. And age does play a role in this too. So, what are the secrets to controlling high blood pressure? What are the things that we can do to help take care of this? And so, I want to take a second to discuss, the way that we do things. And see, she's smiling, having a good time, and that's going to be lowering blood pressure.
Yeah, I love these little guys. I'm going to show y'all. Can you see those lemurs?
Oh,
They're like little ringtail lemurs.
Is Kathy on the meet today?
Maybe can't. I don't know, but I just love them.
Them jumping
Is
around.
Kathy on the meet today, Mom?
So,
You should reduce your caffeine, your salt, your
well,
fluid.
the studies don't show that sea salt, pink salt, studies don't show that that raises blood pressure, but it does.
Most people don't pay the extra for it. That's where you pay the little extra.
Yeah, because you definitely don't want to get demineralized. If you are demineralized, then the thing that happens is you are going to cause hypertension because you don't have the zinc and the selenium and the things like that that it takes to help the vascular vessel stay pliable. So with sleep, these are easy things. If you can control your blood pressure with sleep, getting good sleep, and we try to give yourself an 8 or 9 hour sleep opportunity. And that's what it's called, is a sleep opportunity. Then after that, you want to do exercise. There's a reason why they call it cardiovascular exercise, because it's good for the body. And what is that? That is like steady state training. So what is zone 2 training? If you don't have a heart rate monitor, you can basically say that zone 2 is where, when you are exercising, you can only get a couple words in between sentences, and that's how you talk. That's that zone 2 of training, and that's a very rough guesstimate. But we want you to be doing these things before you have to see somebody like me and her. That's the thing that has to happen. You want to take care of these foundational things. And a couple other foundational things that we're going to go into right now is the nutritional aspect of it. And the first thing I want to talk about is my favorite. Does fish oil lower blood pressure? And so they did what is called a meta-analysis. And this means they took a bunch of studies and they started to look at them and try to decipher if in all of these studies, if they made any sense. So we're going to look at this study from whoever's office and this study's whoever's lab, and we're going to go through these things, and we want to see if there is an appreciable change. And as we did that, we looked at it and we started to see in this, in healthy individuals, adding EPA and DHA. So if you already had good blood pressure, if you already had good things, if you were already healthy, your body weight's good, your blood pressure's good, you're sleeping well, then adding fish oil to the tune of about 3,000 grams or 3 grams, 3,000 milligrams per day. Let me get my highlighter out. So if we look at this and we go right there, if we added 3,000 milligrams a day to a healthy individual, there was no significant change in the blood pressure. But if somebody was hypertensive, then they had a significant effect on the blood pressure, lowering it by 3.4 and 2 points respectively. So if you layer in taking 3 to 4 grams of omega-3 fatty acids, actually it was 4.2 grams of omega-3 fatty acids into your diet, you start to lower your blood pressure. And this is one of the things, when I had blood pressure, I was running at 150 and 160 over 90. This is how I got mine back. I actually quit exercising and started to add in 3,000 milligrams of fish oil a day. The next thing we want to see, so the next secret that there is to this, and this is super simple, that's a very simple, easy to do thing that you can do for yourself that you don't need a doctor for. This is the omega-3 fatty acid that I use. And we do a test to measure omega-3 fatty acids. And when we see the omega-3 fatty acids are off, that's why we start to use this one, because I can show in multiple patients the change in omega-3 content, and we can watch their blood pressure lower. So the fish oils are absolutely one part of that. Do you want to take a guess at what I'm going to go to next, hon?
Exercise.
I already said it. We started with exercise, our cardiovascular.
Omega-3s.
And what did we do this morning already?
We've already biked 10 miles.
And so now we're here on this. And what I want to talk about next is, what is secret number 3 or pillar number 3 to health? It is nutrition. It's our flavonoids. Do you see this word right here, flavonoids and hypertension? What that means is a flavonoid or bioflavonoids. Those are the colors in fruits and vegetables.
You have to eat your rainbow.
Yep. And once again, it's the farmer's market time. I was just down at the farmer's market and I picked up non-GMO sweet corn. I picked up jalapeno peppers. All the tomatoes were out, but Hun is very sensitive to tomatoes. So I skipped the tomatoes. But if you're not sensitive to the nightshades and you're not sensitive to that, then lycopene that's in tomatoes is very good for your blood pressure. It helps lower it.
It is. And a lot of people don't even know that they're sensitive to nightshades. They just get headaches and they medicate headaches, but headaches, they cause migraine.
And just anytime you get signs and symptoms like that, you do not want to go straight to medication. That is your body telling you something. And if you're medicating, if you're using ibuprofen, especially if you use it longer than 3 days, you start to get leaky gut. You start to cause more issues because your gut gets little perforations in it. And this allows for the bad things in the food that you eat to get through into your bloodstream, causing allergies and sensitivities and things of that nature. And I just had a test on me and said my secretory IgA was low. So I've got to order a couple of kits for actually me and another patient to start to heal my gut up. But
well, headaches go along with hypertension, but if you're getting a lot of headaches, you might want to check your blood pressure and keep a diary. Check your blood pressure before your feet hit the floor in the morning, and then write down what you're eating, because you might find that you've got a pattern and you can fix it with food.
Yep.
Or by eliminating food.
The other thing is chiropractic is awesome at headaches. We see headaches and get rid of them all the time.
Yeah. Well, and if you are seeing a chiropractor and you have a headache, don't cancel your appointment because you have a headache. That's when you need to go there the most.
That's actually very, very true. The next thing we want to see is, we talked about the bioflavonoids, and now we're going to talk about the polyphenols. So the polyphenols, these are the other things that are in fruits and vegetables. And when you look at these things, and you don't have to know what a polyphenol or a phenol or a phytonutrient is. You just know that when you eat your fruits and vegetables, these are the things that you get that lower hypertension. And then you don't get that stuff in McDonald's. You don't get that stuff in Burger King. Those things are not in the foods that you get in the fast food industry. And this is why people that eat lots of processed foods tend to have cardiovascular risk. They have low omega-3s. They have hypertension. I mean, you can
Look at
control
high
it.
quality olive oil and add it to everything. It's amazing.
Yeah, the polyphenols out of that are very, very good. And look at this, that what they found at the National Institutes of Health. Dietary phenolic compounds have a protective role against cardiovascular risk due to the numerous chemical and structural properties and biological effects, including high antioxidant capacity in vitro and in vivo. So in vitro and in vivo, that was when they did the study in the lab and when they did the study in humans. And the anti-inflammatory and anti-hypertensive effects and improved endothelial function. Big fancy words for saying the blood vessel was able to operate better by different mechanisms and in some cases different compounds. Thus, plausible hypothesis is that the polyphenols can stimulate the formation of vasoprotective factors. So the polyphenols help protect your blood vessels. And that's the short of this. And that's why you have to eat fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, or as fresh as you can get. In the winter, if you've canned them, that's fabulous. If you have to get them from frozen foods, do the best you can. But once again, you don't hear anything in here about eating high processed foods, high processed meats. You just don't hear that. The more that you add to things, the more that you have to process and your liver gets bogged down. And so if you're eating good fruits and vegetables, if you're eating high polyphenolic foods and you're eating the olive oil, like Jess said, you're exercising and you're getting good sleep, the last little secret is be around people that make you smile and make you laugh. Do things that make you smile and make you laugh, like being at the zoo and watching the lemurs jump around, watching the chimpanzees do whatever they do. These are the things that you have to, that they're just healthy for the body. It gives the body a break. And Jess, I'll let you take over for a second while I bring up my next page, my next paper. And
well, a lot of people, they just have high blood pressure, so they immediately go to the doctor and the doctor immediately puts them on high blood pressure medication. But they probably should just clean out their pantry first, because most people eat processed food, which is loaded with salt and preservatives, which drives up your blood pressure. So most of the time probably, you can probably help yourself by just cleaning out your pantry.
well, that, and they have super bad oils in them. I mean, those oils are there to protect the food and it just creates sludge. So if you're doing the best that you can and you're eating well, you're trying to exercise, another way that you can layer in some good health is, like I said, you do the omega-3 fatty acids, and then you do the phytomulti. So remember where I was saying phytonutrients, polyphenols, and bioflavonoids? Those are all in this multi. But the multi is not a replacement. The multi is not a replacement for a good foundational diet. Last but not least, Golden Fusion. We're putting this in everything that we do because the curcumin, the bioflavonoids, these are things that add to our health. And so we're layering health. Today, how much sleep did we get last night? How many hours of sleep did we get last night? Probably seven to
at least. So, we went to bed late, but we usually get at least 8.
And so we went to sleep. Yeah, well, her job, once again, her job has her working overnight. And that's incredibly hard on the body. The body does not get to heal for her on Saturdays and Sundays. It just doesn't. But we got good sleep last night. We eat a fabulous diet. We had a so-so meal last night, but it was within good company. We were having fun. We were laughing with the boys. One of
Yes.
Jessica's boys came in from the service, and so we just
My
had a
bonus boy.
yep. We had generally a good time, and that's the thing. There's a Chinese proverb that says it is better to eat a bad meal in good humor than a good meal in bad humor. And what that means is if you're once in a while you get a hold of a bad meal, once in a while you eat out and it's pub food, if you're having a good time with that, if you're having lots of fun and you're laughing, your own endogenous endorphins and things like that are going to keep you safe. And that's what you want. But if you're
Dave,
eating,
I'm gonna let you go.
okay,
I'm gonna let you go.
you're going
See you
inside.
guys. Yeah.
Have fun.
Bye.
And so what ends up happening is, and we have a lot of fun. I mean, life always goes on. So she's out having a good time. I'm at the clinic preparing to get ready to go for a run. I already did a bike ride this morning. I'm going to go for a run. I have noticed that I'm 50 and I'm getting ready to be 51 in September. Slowly, my blood pressure is ticked up, and there's a lot of stress at the clinic. I mean, I like to think I'm a fabulous doctor, but there's a lot of stress at the clinic when it comes to the business side. Businessman in me is I would rather just see people. I would treat people all day for free, but for some reason, the government likes taxes and people like to get paid for supplies, and I just can't get them to all hop on my bandwagon. But back to, stress, I got away from exercise and I was doing CrossFit all the time, and I don't do any of that now. And so I'm trying to get back into it because I have seen my blood pressure this morning was 137 over 82. And I'm like, I don't like that. That's a little high, but I was dealing with some stuff. I'll take it again later tonight and see what happens. But if you have that good foundational diet and you're doing everything that you can, once again, what do I use to keep my blood pressure low instead of causing? If you take a pill, that's going to stop things. And when you stop things, you back things up. And that's just an overly simplified way to think about it. Are medications necessary? Yes, sometimes they are. You just have to have them. But if you can get away from having to live on medications, you're much better off. Your body will thank you for it. And so these are our foundational products. And that Omegagenics right here, that's my go-to for a fish oil. And this is what I call the anti-inflammatory bundle. When patients come in to me with pain, this is what they start on. We do the omega. This is a high concentrate. Notice that 2,400, a teaspoon of that is 2,400 milligrams of EPA DHA. Then I go to a Phyto Multi because I want to supplement the fruits and veggies that I get. And then last but not least, the studies on turmeric, curcumin, and all of that stuff is all in that golden fusion. And that's another thing that is very anti-inflammatory. If you're a patient, you know how to get these things. If you're not a patient and you want a quick, easy way to get a hold of these, you go to Metagenics.com and create an account. My practitioner code is T Miller. And so if you go to Metagenics.com and you use that practitioner code T Miller, then what happens is you can go in there and you can search for the anti-inflammatory bundle. The dolphin show is starting. You can go to the Metagenics code and look for the anti-inflammatory anti-inflammatory bundle. And that's in the notes, that's in the side. If you search for that, that allows you to get the anti-inflammatory bundle. And the way that you take those is you take 2 teaspoons of the Omegagenics. 2 teaspoons puts you at 4,800, and that's right in that range where the blood pressure drop is. You take 2 tabs of the Phyto Multi together, and then you take 1 scoop of the Golden Fusion per day. And this starts to bring that down. If you do that for a month and you don't see a change in your blood pressure, that's when you come and see somebody like me. So let's go over this one more time. Let's go over this real quick. We want good sleep. That is secret number 1 to just plain old good health. 8 hours of sleep. Number 2, the nutrition that we talked about. The fruits and vegetables, the polyphenols and the bioflavonoids from those things, the phytonutrients. Those things are the things that are shown in studies to lower blood pressure. And that's from the National Institutes of Health. That's not from Dr. Miller. That's not from some vitamin company. That is from the government, who actually gets nothing from the nutritional industry. It's technically an unregulated industry. That's why you want good vitamins like the Metagenics brand, because they police themselves with third-party labs. After that, you got the nutrition, you got the cardiovascular exercise. You want at least 30 minutes. They say 3 to 5 hours a week, so 30 minutes a day of that walking that gets you into the point where you're breathing like that and talking like that. So it's just a good, brisk, stiff walk. And last but not least, do it with some friends so you can laugh and you can have a good time and you can go and just enjoy yourself. So last but not least, I am going to put up the website again, www.metagenics.com. And then the code is T Miller. Search for anti-inflammatory bundle. That gets you that. 2 teaspoons of omega-3s, 2 tabs of Phyto Multi, 1 scoop of Golden Fusion. This is just an overall tonic for you. So I will put that up on the screen. That's what we have, Metagenics.com. Code is T Miller. Search for anti-inflammatory bundle. You're going to take 2 teaspoons of the omega-3s, 2 tabs of the Phyto Multi, and 1 scoop of the Golden Fusion per day. You're going to do that for about a week, and then about a month. Remember, when we're using nutraceuticals, when we're using Mother Nature as our pharmacy, which is what we really should do, when we do that, then it helps the body and it's multimodal, helps multiple systems, but it takes a little longer. So it's just like saving $1 million. If you save $1 million and put it into the bank, then the interest, and you compound the interest, it grows and it helps you more. Or you can go out and borrow $1 million, and then you still have to pay back that $1 million with interest. So then you don't have anything to show for it in the end. That's why nutrition seems to always be better than pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals should be an adjunct, just like supplements are an adjunct to an already healthy diet. So that being said, we are right at 30 minutes, and I want to thank you all for being there. For my patients that are watching this, thank you for your trust in us, and we will do the very best we can to help you. Have a great day. Thank you for taking this time to look into the health of you and your loved ones. This broadcast does not constitute a doctor-patient relationship. It is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not a replacement or substitute for care. If you are having issues, please seek a qualified professional trained in functional medicine. We would be happy to be of assistance with both in-person and virtual consultations. Thank you.